Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today is another 8-inch block. This one is called Windmill, and I already have this one sewn into its setting. And this is another block that gives you a lot of motion, and this is made with half square triangles and flying geese units, and it is really easy to do. It's very beginner friendly. And I use 2 colors with the background. So I hope you'll join me and I'll show you how to make the windmill block. Okay, here are the fabrics you need to make the windmill block. For A, you'll need 4 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. For B, you'll need 2 3-inch squares. C is 8 2.5 inch squares. D is 2 3-inch squares, and then E is 4 2.5 inch squares. And I've drawn diagonal lines on the wrong sides of the C and the D squares. So we'll get started making the windmill block. Okay, the first step is to make half square triangles with the D and the B squares. So I'm going to place them right sides together, and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch away from the drawn line on both sides. And I'm going to go ahead and sew the second one, and this will make 4 half square triangles. Now the windmill block has a pinwheel unit in the center, and that's what these are for. Okay, I'm going to cut these along that drawn line. And now I have 4 half square triangles. So I'll show you those. Half square triangle, and I'm going to press towards the print fabric. Okay, so 4 half square triangles. Now these are a little bit oversized, so I need to trim them down to measure 2.5 inches square. And they're only about 1/8 of an inch too big, so they're not that over large, but it's enough that they need to be trimmed down. Okay, so I have them all trimmed down to 2.5 inches. And I'm going to set them aside and work on the flying geese units, and they'll be the A rectangles and the C squares. And I'm going to put a C square on the right hand side, and my drawn line is going to run from the top center to the bottom right hand corner, and I'm going to sew right on that drawn line. see. Let's clip those apart. Now this is a pretty quick block. It's not as quick as some of them I've done recently, but it will not take a long time to do this block. Okay, let me press these back. Okay, so they look like that. Now I'm going to put the square on the opposite side, and this drawn line is going to go from the top center to the bottom left hand corner. Okay, all 4 flying geese units are done. So let's lay out the block. Okay, we're going to start laying them out. I'm going to start in the center by laying out the pinwheel unit. So that requires a half square triangles, and they're going to go like this. So you want it to look like they're spinning around. And then for the outside, I'm going to put an E square here, flying geese unit, another E square and a flying geese unit here, E square, flying geese unit, E square and flying geese unit. Now for this block, okay, we're going to sew this block into quarters. So we're going to sew these together and these and these. And what we're going to do, I'm sorry, I'm getting weather alerts. We're expecting a bad snowstorm. Snow and ice, sleet. We're getting everything here starting tonight. So the weather notification keeps going off and I can't turn it off. It just keeps going. So you'll be hearing that little beeping noise for a while, I think. So I'm going to sew the half square triangle with the E square, sew those together, and then sew the flying geese unit to it. So that'll make 1/4 of the quilt block, and then I'll repeat that with the other 3 sections, and then I'll sew 2 sections together to make 2 rows, and then I'll sew the rows together. Okay, I'm going to do this 1/4 at a time. I'm going to start with the E square and the half square triangle. And I'm going to press as I go. So let's press toward the E square here. Okay, so we have that piece, and then I'm going to add the flying geese unit to that. me press this unit and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so here we go. There's 1/4 of the block. So I'm gonna make 3 more of these. And let me show you how I'm pressing on the back. I pressed towards the E square and then I pressed up towards the flying geese unit. That was the path of least resistance. Okay, so I have all 4 units sewn, and now I need to sew them together into rows. So there are, right here, we've got diagonal seams on both pieces, so I'm going to nest those 2 pieces together, and I'm going to pin. And then there is a seam here and a seam here. And both of those seams are pressed in the same direction. So I'm going to flip one of the seams back just so I can nest it in place and pin it, and then I'll let this seam just flip back and sew it, and hopefully that will keep everything in line. Okay, and now sew these together with this pinwheel in the middle. I want to try and line up these points. And those seams also will nest together in there, so that helps. And then these seams, nest them together. Now if I had pressed the seams all in the opposite direction, I would still have things at this point where the seams are going in the same direction, which makes it harder to nest them. But it's hard to press open seams on a flying geese unit. You can do it, but it's not easy. Okay, so here is the windmill block. I need to trim it up a little bit. It's a little bit long on this end. But other than that, I think it turned out pretty well. So it's an easy block, flying geese units, half square triangles, and single squares. So just press as you go, and I think this block goes together pretty easy. So I hope you give this block a try. Okay, that is it for the windmill block. So that one went together really quick. I like the motion in this block. I think it's really interesting. It's a good beginner block. So I hope you'll give this one a try. Now if you like this video, please click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so you'll be notified when the next video comes up. And in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.